The Tycho Lunar Observatory. Even the name whispered a sense of foreboding, a stark contrast to the thrill I felt accepting this position. Dr. Eris Thorne, they called me, a rising star in astrophysics, ready to unravel the universe's deepest secret. Or so I thought. The journey itself was a prelude to the isolation awaiting me. Hours spent hurtling across the desolate landscape, the endless, star-dusted expanse blurring into a hypnotic, almost threatening panorama. The observatory itself, it clung to the mountainside like a metallic leech, its imposing silhouette a stark defiance against the inky canvas of the night sky. Red security lights pulsed rhythmically, casting long, dancing shadows across the polished floors, a stark contrast to the sterile gleam of the equipment within. The air hummed with a low, persistent thrum, a symphony of whirring machinery, and the almost imperceptible crackle of static electricity. My quarters were Spartan, yet functional. A narrow bed, a small desk piled high with research papers, and a window offering an unparalleled view of the moon, a celestial body that would soon become a source of both fascination and profound terror. The sheer scale of the data streams on the monitors was daunting, a torrent of information that threatened to overwhelm my senses. Each line, each blip, represented a piece of the cosmic puzzle, but some pieces seemed deliberately obscured, hinting at something far beyond my wildest scientific expectations. The silence here was oppressive, a heavy blanket woven from the absence of human voices and the vast, indifferent expanse of space. It pressed in on me, amplifying the subtle creaks and groans of the aging structure, the rhythmic pulse of the machinery, the ever-present, unsettling glow of the moon through the massive dome window. This wasn't just a job. It was a descent into a realm of scientific mystery, a journey into the heart of the unknown, where the line between observation and participation was about to blur terrifyingly. I was ready, or so I believed, to confront the secrets hidden within the lunar dust, secrets that would soon shatter my carefully constructed world. My skepticism was about to be brutally tested, my scientific curiosity about to be consumed by a primal fear that would haunt my every waking moment. For the moon, I was about to discover, held secrets far darker and more alive than I could ever have imagined. This was only the beginning. My initial days were spent navigating the labyrinthine corridors of the observatory, becoming acquainted with the complex machinery and the equally complex personalities of the staff. Dr. Albright, my supervisor, was a man of few words, his eyes holding a depth of weariness that hinted at long nights spent battling not just cosmic mysteries but also the creeping dread that seemed to permeate every aspect of this place. It was during these initial interactions that I first encountered whispers of the silent protocol. At first, I dismissed it as folklore, the product of long nights and overactive imaginations. Strange rules, they called them, superstitions passed down through generations of astronomers. Avoid the south wing after midnight. Never look directly at the moon during a full lunar eclipse. Don't mention the shadow events in casual conversation. These pronouncements, delivered in hushed tones, were met with uneasy glances and nervous laughter. But the underlying unease was palpable, a pervasive sense of dread that clung to the air like the dust motes dancing in the red security lights. Old Elias, the maintenance engineer, a man whose face seemed etched with the observatory's secrets, was particularly insistent on adhering to these peculiar rules. His warnings were laced with a chilling conviction that went beyond mere superstition. He spoke of things unseen, of shadows that moved in the periphery of vision, of a cold, alien presence that seemed to emanate from the moon itself. Initially, I attributed his pronouncements to the strain of years spent in this isolated environment, the weight of cosmic secrets pressing down upon him. Yet, his insistence, the haunted look in his eyes, the way his voice would crack when he spoke of the silent protocol, began to plant seeds of doubt in my own mind. The other staff members, while less overt in their warnings, shared a similar reticence, a collective reluctance to discuss certain topics, an unspoken agreement to avoid certain areas of the observatory after dark. Their hushed whispers, their furtive glances, their sudden silences, these were the true harbingers of something far more sinister than simple superstition. This was a place where the veil between the scientific and the supernatural was thinning, where the rational mind began to crack under the weight of the inexplicable. And I was beginning to understand that the silent protocol wasn't just a collection of quaint rules. It was a desperate attempt to contain something far more terrifying. Something that was watching us from the moon. It happened during my third night shift. The observatory was plunged into an eerie silence, broken only by the rhythmic hum of the machinery and the distant howl of the wind whipping across the desolate mountain peak. I was reviewing data streams, my eyes tracing the intricate patterns of celestial bodies, when the emergency alert blared, a jarring, piercing sound that sliced through the quiet like a knife. The screen flashed red, displaying a cryptic code, a sequence of symbols and numbers that defied any known astronomical or technical language. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat echoing the alarm's insistent wail. I tried to decipher the code, my fingers flying across the keyboard, but it remained stubbornly enigmatic. A cold dread began to grip me, a feeling of unease that went beyond the simple malfunction of equipment. I immediately contacted Dr. Albright, my voice trembling slightly as I relayed the details. He listened with an unnerving calm, his response tinged with a weary resignation that sent a shiver down my spine. He dismissed it as a system glitch, a software anomaly, a simple error in the complex network of sensors and monitors. His explanation, however, lacked conviction, his tone suggesting a deeper, unspoken understanding of the event's true significance. The other staff members echoed his assessment, their reactions ranging from dismissive shrugs to nervous glances at the moon, which hung heavy and ominously in the night sky. Their collective unease was palpable, their silence more eloquent than any spoken explanation. They seemed to accept the cryptic alert as another strange occurrence, another anomaly to be brushed aside, another piece of the unsettling puzzle that was the Tycho Lunar Observatory. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something far more profound was at play. The code, the alarm, the dismissive yet uneasy reactions of the staff, all pointed towards something beyond a simple technical malfunction. It was a feeling of foreboding, an ominous premonition that resonated deep within my bones. This wasn't a glitch, it was a warning, a cryptic message from a source far beyond our understanding, a message I was increasingly convinced was linked to the moon itself. And the silent complicity of the observatory's staff only deepened the mystery, fueling my growing fear that I had stumbled upon something far more terrifying than any scientific anomaly. The moon was not just watching us, it was communicating, and its message was far from reassuring. The cryptic alert was just the beginning. The following days were marked by a series of escalating technical problems, each more unsettling than the last. Erratic power surges jolted the observatory, plunging us into darkness before snapping back on with a violent surge that threatened to fry the sensitive equipment. The rhythmic hum of the machinery became erratic, punctuated by unsettling groans and clangs, as if the very structure of the observatory was protesting against some unseen force. Communication systems faltered, lines crackling with static interference, voices breaking up into garbled whispers, until finally complete silence descended. We were cut off, isolated not just by the remote location but also by the failure of technology, our lifeline to the outside world severed. The feeling of isolation intensified, a suffocating blanket of dread settling over the staff. The sophisticated astronomical equipment, the pride of the observatory, began to malfunction. Telescopes shuddered and vibrated uncontrollably, their precise movements distorted into violent spasms. Monitors flickered, displaying distorted images, lines of gibberish, and fleeting glimpses of what seemed to be something else. Something beyond the realm of scientific explanation. Each malfunction brought with it a fresh wave of anxiety, a palpable increase in tension among the staff. The easy camaraderie of the initial days was replaced by a nervous silence, punctuated by hushed whispers and furtive glances. Even Dr. Albright's usual calm demeanor cracked under the relentless pressure of the escalating chaos. His reassurances, once confident, now carried a tremor of uncertainty, a hint of the growing fear that was taking root in all of us. The malfunctions weren't random, they felt deliberate, orchestrated, as if some unseen hand was systematically disabling our ability to observe, to communicate, to understand. The observatory, once a beacon of scientific exploration, was becoming a prison, its sophisticated technology transforming into instruments of our own confinement. And with each flickering light, each crackling line, each violent surge of power, the chilling truth became increasingly clear. We were not alone, and whatever was out there, whatever was causing these escalating problems, was not benevolent. The moon was not just a celestial body, it was a malevolent force, and we were trapped within its influence. The escalating tension wasn't just a technical problem, it was a prelude to something far more terrifying. The disappearance of Dr. Lena Hansen was the turning point. One moment she was there, meticulously calibrating a telescope, her brow furrowed in concentration. The next, she was gone. Vanished without a trace. Her workstation remained untouched, her personal effects still in place, as if she had simply ceased to exist. Panic, raw and visceral, replaced the creeping dread that had been our constant companion. We searched everywhere, our frantic calls echoing through the deserted corridors, our flashlights cutting swathes through the oppressive darkness. But there was no sign of her, no forced entry, no struggle, no indication of foul play, only an unnerving emptiness where she had been moments before. The initial shock gave way to a chilling wave of fear, a sense of vulnerability that cut through our scientific detachment. We were not dealing with simple malfunctions or cryptic warnings. Something far more sinister was at play, something that could erase a person from existence as effortlessly as it could disrupt our technology. The silence that followed was far more terrifying than the previous chaos. The eerie quiet of the observatory was now punctuated by the heavy weight of our fear, the unspoken knowledge that one of us had been taken, and that we might be next. Dr. Albright, usually stoic and reserved, was visibly shaken, his composure finally crumbling under the weight of the inexplicable. His explanations, once rooted in scientific logic, now sounded hollow, his words failing to mask the growing terror in his eyes. Suspicion, like a poisonous vine, began to creep through the remaining staff. Whispers of the silent protocol resurfaced, no longer dismissed as folklore but viewed as a chilling premonition of the danger we faced. Old Elias's warnings, once dismissed as the ramblings of an old man, now echoed with a horrifying relevance. His haunted eyes seemed to confirm our worst fears. We were not simply dealing with a series of technical failures. We were facing something far older, far more powerful, something that existed beyond the boundaries of human understanding. Lena's disappearance wasn't an accident. It was a message, a chilling demonstration of the power we were up against. And the terrifying implication dawned on me. We were not safe. Not anymore. The silence following Lena's disappearance was broken by an even more unsettling event, a transmission. Not from Earth, not from any known satellite, but from the deep space probe, Icarus, a vessel long presumed lost, silent for years. The signal was weak, distorted, but unmistakable, and it was backward. The data stream was a chaotic jumble of reversed images and unintelligible sounds, a grotesque inversion of reality. The images flickered, fragmented glimpses of cosmic horrors that defied description, monstrous shapes writhing in the void, nebulae contorted into obscene parodies of celestial beauty. The sounds were equally disturbing, a symphony of reversed screams, gurgles, and whispers that seemed to claw at the edges of sanity. We tried to process the transmission, to make sense of the inverted data, to decipher the message, but it was like trying to unravel a nightmare. The reverse timeline defied all known scientific principles. It was as if the probe was transmitting from a future that had already ended, or perhaps from a dimension where time flowed in reverse. Dr. Albright, his face pale and drawn, stared at the monitors, his scientific curiosity battling with a primal fear. He muttered about temporal anomalies, about the breakdown of causality, about possibilities that stretched beyond the limits of human comprehension. His voice was strained, his words laced with a desperation that spoke of a man grappling with the disintegration of his carefully constructed worldview. The transmission wasn't just data. It was a glimpse into an abyss of cosmic horror, a terrifying glimpse beyond the veil of reality. It was as if Icarus had stumbled upon something beyond human understanding, something so profoundly alien and disturbing that it had warped the very fabric of space-time itself in its desperate attempt to communicate its terrifying discovery. The reversed images haunted my dreams, grotesque parodies of familiar celestial bodies, twisted and distorted into monstrous shapes, pulsating with a malevolent energy. The reversed sounds echoed in my mind, a cacophony of reversed screams and whispers that seemed to claw at the fragile boundaries of my sanity. The backward transmission was not just a scientific anomaly, it was a terrifying warning, a dreadful prelude to something far more terrifying yet to come. The moon, the probe, the missing colleague. It all pointed to a horrifying truth. We weren't alone, and whatever was out there was far beyond our comprehension, and far more terrifying than we could ever have imagined. The backward transmission wasn't the only unsettling development. Our telescopes, despite the ongoing malfunctions, still offered glimpses of the lunar surface, and what they revealed was even more disturbing than the reversed signal from Icarus. The moon itself seemed to be changing, its familiar surface marred by unsettling geological activity. We observed craters shifting, their shapes altering, expanding, and contracting in ways that defied any known geological processes. The lunar Maria, the dark, basaltic plains, appeared to pulse with a faint, internal light, a luminescence that defied explanation. It wasn't the gentle glow of reflected sunlight. It was something far more active, far more alive. Our instruments detected unusual energy signatures emanating from the lunar surface, readings that spiked erratically, far exceeding anything we had ever recorded. These weren't the predictable energy patterns of solar flares or cosmic radiation. They were something else entirely, something that pulsed with a terrifying intelligence. The energy readings weren't just numbers on a screen. They were a heartbeat, a malevolent pulse radiating from the heart of the moon itself. Dr. Albright, his face etched with a mixture of awe and terror, muttered about tectonic shifts on a scale never before witnessed, about energy sources beyond our comprehension, about the possibility of a living moon. His scientific skepticism was crumbling, replaced by a chilling acceptance of the impossible. The images we captured were chilling, vast chasms opening and closing on the lunar surface, mountains rising and falling like waves in a cosmic ocean, the entire surface of the moon seeming to breathe, to writhe, to shift under some unseen, malevolent force. It was a terrifying spectacle, a cosmic horror show unfolding before our eyes. The moon, once a silent, lifeless satellite, was now a dynamic, terrifying entity, its surface a canvas of chaotic energy and monstrous change. The lunar surface wasn't simply changing. It was reacting, responding to something, or perhaps to someone. And the implications were terrifying beyond words. The mounting evidence was undeniable. The events weren't isolated incidents. They were interconnected, part of a larger, far more terrifying pattern. The technological failures, Lena's disappearance, the backward transmission, the lunar anomalies, it all pointed to a single, horrifying conclusion. Something was wrong, profoundly wrong, and it was connected to the moon. My unease grew into a gnawing suspicion, a feeling that went beyond scientific curiosity and veered into outright terror. Dr. Albright's explanations, once comforting, now felt inadequate, his attempts to rationalize the inexplicable sounding increasingly hollow. His scientific detachment, once a source of strength, now seemed like a dangerous denial of reality. I couldn't ignore the mounting evidence any longer. The observatory's official explanations, malfunctions, glitches, human error felt like a desperate attempt to suppress the truth, a conspiracy designed to protect something, or perhaps someone. The silent protocol, that unsettling list of unexplained rules, now seemed less like bureaucratic quirks and more like a desperate attempt to contain a horrifying truth. The weight of the unspoken, the shadow of the unknown, pressed down on me. I knew I couldn't rely on the observatory's official channels. Their silence, their obfuscation, only fueled my suspicions. I needed to investigate independently, to uncover the truth, even if it meant defying protocols, even if it meant risking my life. The decision was terrifying, a leap of faith into the unknown, a rebellion against the carefully constructed walls of scientific objectivity. But the alternative, accepting the official explanations, remaining passive in the face of overwhelming evidence, was far more terrifying. I had to know. I had to find out what was happening, what was lurking behind the veil of scientific denial, what sinister force was manipulating the moon, and what it wanted. The fate of the observatory, perhaps even the fate of humanity, might depend on it. The time for passive observation was over. The time for action had come. My investigation began with the cryptic emergency alert, the one dismissed by my colleagues as a simple system malfunction. But I couldn't shake the feeling that it was a warning, a message encoded in a language I needed to decipher. It wasn't a random sequence of numbers and symbols. It was a code, a complex pattern waiting to be unlocked. I spent sleepless nights poring over the alert data, searching for patterns, for any hint of meaning. The numbers, at first seemingly random, began to resolve themselves into a sequence, a series of coordinates, astronomical data points. My heart pounded in my chest as the pattern emerged, a chilling connection between the alert and the lunar anomalies. The coordinates weren't terrestrial, they were lunar. They pointed to specific locations on the moon's surface, locations that corresponded precisely with the areas exhibiting the most extreme geological activity, the most intense energy signatures. The alert wasn't a random system failure. It was a map, a terrifying roadmap to the heart of the lunar anomaly. The symbols, initially baffling, proved to be a form of celestial notation, a language of stars and constellations. Deciphering them was like translating a message from the cosmos itself, a message of cosmic horror and impending doom. The symbols described the changes occurring on the moon's surface, the shifts in craters, the pulsating energy signatures, the terrifying transformation of a celestial body. The more I deciphered, the more terrifying the truth became. The emergency alert wasn't just a warning, it was a desperate plea, a cry for help from something. The code revealed a pattern of escalating lunar activity, a terrifying countdown to an event of catastrophic proportions. And the moon, it seemed, wasn't just changing. It was being changed, manipulated by a force far beyond human understanding. The code wasn't just a series of numbers and symbols. It was a death knell, a chilling prophecy of cosmic horror. The moon wasn't just a silent observer. It was a participant, a victim, and perhaps an accomplice in a terrifying cosmic drama. The implications were staggering. The truth was far more terrifying than I could have ever imagined. The decoded emergency alert wasn't just a warning, it was a key to understanding the silent protocol, that bizarre collection of seemingly arbitrary rules I'd initially dismissed as superstition or bureaucratic nonsense. Now, in the chilling light of my discoveries, the protocol's true meaning became terrifyingly clear. Each seemingly nonsensical rule was a carefully constructed safeguard, a defense mechanism against the cosmic horror unfolding before our eyes. The restrictions on nighttime observation, the limitations on data transmission, the prohibition of certain research protocols, they weren't arbitrary. They were crucial, desperate measures to contain something far more terrifying than I could have imagined. The protocol wasn't designed to protect the observatory's reputation or maintain secrecy. It was designed to protect humanity from a far greater threat. It was a desperate, last-ditch effort to prevent a cosmic horror from breaching the thin veil between our reality and something far more sinister. The silence, the secrecy, the unexplained rules, they weren't the result of a conspiracy. They were the result of a desperate attempt to contain something beyond human comprehension. The observatory wasn't just a scientific institution. It was a fortress, a bulwark against an unimaginable cosmic threat. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. The unspoken rules, once mysterious and unsettling, now resonated with a chilling, urgent significance. They weren't just rules. They were warnings, desperate pleas whispered in the face of unimaginable horror. The protocol wasn't a set of arbitrary regulations. It was a survival manual, a battle plan against an enemy that defied human understanding. And we were losing. The cracks in the fortress were widening, the defenses weakening, and the cosmic horror was beginning to seep through. The decoded message, the unraveling of the silent protocol, it all pointed to a terrifying truth. The lunar anomalies weren't isolated events. They were connected, inextricably linked to a growing instability on Earth. The pieces of the puzzle, once scattered and seemingly unrelated, began to fall into place, forming a horrifying, interconnected picture. I started cross-referencing the lunar data with global seismic activity reports and meteorological record. The correlation was stark, undeniable. The most intense periods of lunar upheaval coincided with unusual spikes in seismic activity across the globe. Earthquakes in regions historically considered geologically stable, volcanic eruptions of unprecedented magnitude. The weather patterns were even more alarming. Unpredictable storms of terrifying intensity, torrential rains in arid regions, prolonged droughts in fertile lands were all aligned with the escalating lunar anomalies. The Earth's climate was destabilizing, its geological stability crumbling, mirroring the chaos unfolding on the Moon's surface. The connection wasn't coincidental. It was causal. The Moon's transformation was triggering catastrophic events on Earth, a terrifying domino effect with potentially devastating consequences. The Moon wasn't just changing. It was influencing, manipulating, and ultimately threatening the very fabric of our planet. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a cosmic horror story confined to the lunar surface. It was a planetary crisis, a global catastrophe in the making. The Moon's transformation wasn't an isolated incident. It was a harbinger of doom, a prelude to a far greater, more terrifying event. The silent protocol wasn't just a set of rules. It was a desperate attempt to buy time, to delay the inevitable. But time was running out. The cosmic horror was no longer confined to the Moon. It was reaching out, grasping at our world, threatening to consume everything in its path. The fight for survival had begun. The connection between the lunar anomalies and Earth's escalating crises solidified my suspicions. This wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was a cover-up. The sheer scale of the data manipulation was breathtaking. The observatory wasn't just observing the Moon. It was actively suppressing the truth. My investigation led me down a rabbit hole of redacted files, deleted data streams, and encrypted communications. The observatory's official records were a carefully crafted illusion, a meticulously constructed facade designed to conceal the horrifying reality. The missing data pieces were deliberately removed, the anomalies downplayed, the true extent of the threat carefully masked. I discovered a pattern, a systematic effort to conceal the truth, not just from the public, but from most of the observatory staff. The silent protocol wasn't just a set of rules. It was a code of silence, a conspiracy of terrifying proportions. My access to certain databases was limited, my inquiries subtly deflected, my findings conveniently overlooked. Then, I stumbled upon a hidden server, a digital vault containing the true extent of the observatory's findings. The data revealed a horrifying truth. A powerful, shadowy organization was aware of the cosmic threat, and they were actively working to suppress the information, to control the narrative, to prevent widespread panic. This wasn't just a scientific conspiracy. It was a global cover-up of cosmic proportions. The organization, whoever they were, possessed immense power and influence, capable of manipulating governments, suppressing information, and silencing dissent. They knew the truth, the horrifying truth about the moon's transformation and its impact on Earth, and they were determined to keep it hidden at any cost. The fight wasn't just against a cosmic horror, it was against a conspiracy of silence, a powerful, shadowy organization that would stop at nothing to maintain control. And I, armed with the truth, was now their target. The hidden data revealed the horrifying truth. It wasn't an asteroid impact, a volcanic eruption, or a rogue celestial body. The moon's transformation wasn't geological, it was biological. A sentient entity, a cosmic horror of unimaginable power, was inhabiting the moon, feeding off its energy, and now reaching out to consume Earth. The entity wasn't physical in the traditional sense. It was an energy being, a vast, sentient cloud of cosmic energy, subtly manipulating the moon's structure and drawing sustenance from its core. The geological upheavals, the anomalous energy signatures, these weren't random events. They were the entity's feeding process, its parasitic consumption of the moon's energy. The entity's influence extended beyond the moon. The increasingly erratic weather patterns, the escalating seismic activity, these weren't merely coincidences. They were the entity's tendrils, reaching out, probing, preparing to consume our planet. The entity's energy signature was spreading, infecting the Earth's energy fields, subtly altering our planet's very essence. The reversed signal from the lost probe wasn't just a random burst of static. It was a glimpse into the entity's consciousness, a distorted reflection of its vast, terrifying power. The images of cosmic horror weren't hallucinations. They were fragments of the entity's reality, a glimpse into a dimension beyond human comprehension. This wasn't a battle against an invading force. It was a struggle against a parasitic entity, a cosmic leech draining the lifeblood of our planet. The stakes were far greater than any earthly conflict. It was a fight for the survival of humanity itself, a desperate struggle against a force that existed beyond our understanding, a being that viewed our planet not as a home, but as a meal. The time for denial was over. The fight for survival had begun. The weight of the truth pressed down on me, a crushing burden of cosmic proportions. I held the knowledge of humanity's impending doom, a secret guarded by a shadowy organization and a silent protocol designed to protect whom? The elite? The powerful? Or perhaps, simply to delay the inevitable? The observatory's protocol was clear. Silence. Maintain the illusion, protect the secret, and hope for a miracle. But hope was a luxury I could no longer afford. The escalating global catastrophes, the undeniable evidence of the entity's parasitic consumption, these were not abstract theories. They were realities unfolding before my eyes. To remain silent was to condemn billions to a horrifying death, to allow a cosmic horror to consume our planet. To speak out was to risk everything. My career, my life, perhaps even the lives of everyone I knew. The organization would stop at nothing to maintain control, to suppress the truth, to protect their interests. The dilemma was agonizing, a moral precipice with no easy answers. My scientific training instilled in me the importance of truth, of evidence, of sharing knowledge. But the conspiracy, the power of the organization, the very nature of the threat, these were forces far beyond the realm of scientific understanding. My scientific curiosity, once a driving force, now felt insignificant in the face of cosmic horror. The gnawing terror, the overwhelming sense of isolation, intensified with every passing moment. My scientific mind struggled to reconcile the reality of the situation with the potential consequences of action. Every fiber of my being screamed for me to act, to warn humanity, to fight for our survival. Yet, the chilling reality of the conspiracy and the potential consequences of defying it loomed over me, a constant, terrifying reminder of the risk. The choice was mine, and the fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance. The decision was made. Silence was no longer an option. The risk was immense, the potential consequences catastrophic, but inaction was a death sentence for billions. I had to warn humanity, even if it meant facing the wrath of the shadowy organization and risking my own life. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum solo as I bypassed security protocols, accessing the observatory's main communication array. The red emergency lights cast long, ominous shadows across the polished floor, reflecting the urgency of my actions. Each keystroke felt like a betrayal, a defiance against the suffocating silence that had been imposed upon me. I worked quickly, efficiently, encoding my message, a desperate plea, a warning of impending doom. I included the evidence. The data, the images, the decoded emergency alert. It was a message of terrifying proportions, a revelation that would shatter the carefully constructed illusion of normalcy, a truth that could plunge humanity into chaos. The transmission was risky. The organization's surveillance was omnipresent, their ability to intercept and suppress information virtually absolute. But I had to try. The fate of humanity rested on this transmission, this desperate gamble against a cosmic horror and a powerful conspiracy. My hands trembled as I initiated the transmission, sending the warning into the vast expanse of space, hoping it would reach Earth, hoping it would be heard, hoping it would not be intercepted and destroyed. A wave of nausea washed over me as I sent the encrypted message, a desperate act of defiance. I felt a profound sense of isolation, a terrifying loneliness in the face of cosmic horror. My act of defiance echoed in the silence of the observatory, a stark contrast to the escalating chaos on Earth. The transmission was sent, my fate sealed, the consequences unknown. The silence of the observatory was broken only by the pounding of my heart and the chilling knowledge of what I had done. The future hung in the balance. The initial response was disbelief. Governments dismissed the transmission as a hoax, a sophisticated prank, or the ravings of a madman. The media ridiculed it, focusing on the sensationalism rather than the terrifying implications. The public, weary of conspiracy theories and doomsday predictions, largely ignored it, dismissing it as another unfounded scare. But the evidence was undeniable. The escalating global catastrophes, the unprecedented geological activity, the moon's erratic behavior, these were not coincidences. They were symptoms of a far greater, far more terrifying reality. As the evidence mounted, the initial wave of disbelief began to crumble, replaced by a rising tide of fear and uncertainty. The carefully constructed illusion of normalcy began to shatter. The comforting rhythm of daily life was disrupted by a growing sense of unease, a palpable anxiety that permeated every corner of the globe. The initial skepticism gave way to a rising panic, a collective dread that gripped humanity. Governments scrambled to respond, issuing conflicting statements, attempting to maintain control in the face of escalating chaos. The streets filled with fear, uncertainty, and unrest. The world's established order began to crumble under the weight of the unimaginable truth. The comforting facade of civilization cracked, revealing the primal fear lurking beneath. The unity of nations fractured as countries turned inwards, prioritizing their own survival above international cooperation. The global community, once a beacon of hope and collaboration, fractured into isolated, fearful entities, each battling for limited resources, each struggling to survive the onslaught of unprecedented catastrophes. The world descended into chaos, a terrifying reflection of humanity's vulnerability in the face of a cosmic horror. My warning, once dismissed, was now a chilling prophecy unfolding before the eyes of a terrified world. The entity reacted swiftly, violently. My warning, a desperate cry into the cosmic void, had awakened a slumbering beast. The moon, already destabilized, erupted in a frenzy of chaotic energy. Seismic readings went off the charts, registering tremors of unimaginable magnitude. The lunar surface convulsed, fissures splitting the crust, spewing forth plumes of incandescent gas and molten rock. The energy signatures intensified, radiating outwards in waves of raw, malevolent power. The anomalous activity, already alarming, escalated exponentially, exceeding anything I had ever witnessed or could have imagined. It was a terrifying display of cosmic power, a visceral demonstration of the entity's rage. On Earth, the disturbances intensified. The already chaotic global situation spiraled further into anarchy. Volcanic eruptions increased in frequency and intensity, unleashing rivers of molten rock and clouds of ash into the atmosphere. Tsunamis of unprecedented scale crashed against coastal cities, obliterating everything in their path. The very fabric of the planet seemed to be unraveling. The escalating catastrophes were no longer isolated events. They were coordinated assaults, a symphony of destruction orchestrated by the entity's malevolent influence. The entity was responding to my warning, not with reasoned consideration, but with unrestrained fury. Its reaction was a horrifying demonstration of its power, a stark reminder of humanity's insignificance in the face of cosmic horror. The moon, once a celestial beacon, had become a harbinger of doom, its once gentle glow now a malevolent glare signaling the end of all things. The entity's response was a chilling prelude to the final act of this cosmic tragedy. In the face of unimaginable horror, humanity finally united. The initial chaos and panic gave way to a desperate, coordinated effort to understand and, if possible, counter the cosmic threat. National borders became irrelevant. The survival of the species transcended petty differences. Scientists from every corner of the globe pooled their knowledge, their resources, their intellect in a desperate race against time. The world's leading physicists, astronomers, and engineers collaborated on a scale never before witnessed. Data was shared instantaneously, hypotheses tested relentlessly, and solutions explored with feverish intensity. The once secretive knowledge of the silent protocol was now public domain, a blueprint for humanity's last stand. The global community, once fractured by fear and uncertainty, now stood as one, a unified force against the cosmic horror. Research facilities, once isolated islands of scientific endeavor, became hubs of collaborative effort. Teams worked tirelessly, fueled by adrenaline and a shared sense of impending doom. The atmosphere crackled with a mixture of dread and determination. The weight of humanity's fate rested heavily on their shoulders. The urgency was palpable, the task monumental, the odds insurmountable. The focus shifted from understanding the entity to devising a defense. The initial attempts were futile, the entity's power far exceeding anything humanity had ever conceived. But the scientists persisted, driven by a stubborn refusal to surrender. They explored unconventional methods, pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding, testing the limits of human ingenuity. The world held its breath, watching as humanity's last hope flickered in the face of cosmic oblivion. The desperate global effort was a testament to human resilience, a defiant stand against the encroaching darkness. The fight for survival had become a unified, global endeavor, a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit. Then, a breakthrough. A glimmer of hope in the overwhelming darkness. A team of physicists, working tirelessly in a subterranean bunker shielded from the escalating chaos above, stumbled upon a previously overlooked anomaly in the entity's energy signature. It was a subtle fluctuation, a barely perceptible ripple in the torrent of malevolent power, but it was there, and it held the key. Their analysis revealed a weakness, a vulnerability in the entity's otherwise impenetrable defenses. It wasn't a weakness in the traditional sense. It wasn't a physical flaw or a structural defect. It was something far more subtle, a resonance, a frequency, a specific wavelength of energy that seemed to disrupt the entity's control over the lunar anomaly. It was a chink in its armor, a point of leverage in the seemingly insurmountable cosmic battle. The discovery was met with cautious optimism. It was a fragile hope, a slender thread in the face of overwhelming odds. But it was enough. It was a starting point, a foundation upon which to build a defense. The global scientific community, fueled by renewed purpose, shifted their focus from pure defense to a strategic counteroffensive. The plan was audacious, bordering on suicidal. It involved harnessing the power of the Earth's own magnetic field, focusing it through a network of strategically placed satellites, and beaming a precisely calibrated energy pulse at the Moon, targeting the specific frequency identified by the team of physicists. The goal was not to destroy the entity, a task deemed impossible, but to disrupt its control, to weaken its hold on the Moon and, hopefully, to lessen its influence on Earth. The success of the plan was far from guaranteed. Failure would mean certain annihilation. But it was the only chance humanity had. A desperate gamble, a last roll of the cosmic dice. The moment arrived. A hush fell over the global command centers as the precisely calibrated energy pulse, a concentrated beam of hope against the cosmic horror, was unleashed. It arced across the void, a slender line of defiance against the monstrous entity's overwhelming power. The Moon, a scarred and tormented celestial body, became the focal point of a cosmic struggle. The entity reacted instantly. The already chaotic energy signatures intensified, becoming a maelstrom of raw power. The lunar surface erupted in a cataclysmic display of force, as if the very fabric of the Moon itself was tearing apart. It was a terrifying spectacle, a cosmic ballet of destruction. The entity fought back with the full force of its malevolent might, attempting to overwhelm humanity's desperate attempt at defiance. The energy pulse struck its target. There was no explosion, no dramatic visual confirmation of success. Instead, there was a subtle shift, a change in the energy signatures that was almost imperceptible at first. But as the seconds ticked by, the change became undeniable. The maelstrom of energy began to subside, the chaotic fluctuations lessening in intensity. The entity's grip on the Moon seemed to weaken. The confrontation was far from over. The entity retaliated with renewed fury, unleashing waves of destructive energy at the Earth. But the initial impact of the energy pulse had broken its dominance, its control faltering. Humanity's defense mechanisms, though strained to their limits, held. The global network of satellites, battered but not broken, continued to focus the energy pulse, relentlessly assaulting the entity's weakened defenses. The struggle continued for what felt like an eternity, a cosmic tug-of-war between humanity's desperate hope and the entity's relentless fury. The fate of the world hung precariously in the balance, the outcome uncertain. The final confrontation was a harrowing test of wills, a desperate struggle for survival against the overwhelming power of cosmic horror. The future of humanity rested on this knife's edge. The aftermath was a world irrevocably changed. The Moon, once a familiar and comforting presence in the night sky, was now a scarred and fractured celestial body, a testament to the cosmic battle that had raged across its surface. The scars were more than just physical. They were a haunting reminder of the terrifying entity that had once held it captive. Earth bore the wounds of the conflict as well. Cities lay in ruins, landscapes transformed, and the global ecosystem irrevocably altered. The human population had been decimated, the survivors scattered and struggling to rebuild their shattered lives. The world had been irrevocably changed, a testament to the fragility of human civilization in the face of overwhelming cosmic forces. Yet, amidst the devastation, a fragile hope persisted. The entity's power had been diminished, its influence weakened, though not entirely eradicated. The threat remained, a constant reminder of the cosmic horror lurking just beyond the veil of our reality. The Moon, though scarred, was no longer a conduit for the entity's malevolent power. It was a silent sentinel, a constant reminder of humanity's brush with annihilation. The global scientific community, now more united than ever, dedicated itself to studying the entity, its origins, and its weaknesses. The knowledge gained during the conflict was invaluable, a grim but necessary lesson in the dangers of the cosmos. A new era of scientific research dawned, driven by a deeper understanding of the universe's hidden threats and humanity's desperate need to survive. The world had changed, scarred but not broken, forever marked by the cosmic horror it had faced. The future was uncertain, but humanity had survived, bearing the scars and the wisdom of a harrowing encounter with the unknown. The long-term implications of the cosmic event were profound and far-reaching. Society, forever altered by the near-extinction event, underwent a radical transformation. Global cooperation, once a fragile ideal, became a necessity for survival. Governments, stripped of their previous power structures, reorganized into a more unified, globally coordinated system focused on long-term planetary defense and resource management. Trust in science and technology soared, transforming them from tools of progress into essential safeguards against cosmic threat. Technological advancements accelerated exponentially. The desperate struggle for survival spurred innovation in energy production, planetary defense systems, and space exploration. The once unthinkable became reality, with humanity pushing the boundaries of scientific understanding in a race against time to ensure its continued existence. The fear of cosmic threats reshaped human priorities, leading to a new era of technological prowess focused on safeguarding Earth from future encounters. Human understanding of the universe underwent a paradigm shift. The cosmic horror had shattered previous assumptions about our place in the cosmos, revealing a universe far more dangerous and unpredictable than previously imagined. The scientific community, forever altered by the experience, embraced a more cautious, realistic approach to exploration and discovery. The mysteries of the cosmos were still there, inviting exploration, but with a newfound respect for the power and potential dangers lurking beyond our planet. The universe, once a source of wonder and scientific curiosity, now held both the promise of discovery and the ever-present threat of destruction. The long shadow of the cosmic event would forever shape human society and its relationship with the universe. The silence of the rebuilt observatory was a stark contrast to the chaos I had witnessed. The weight of what I had seen, what I had done, pressed down on me. The knowledge, once a terrifying burden, now felt like a responsibility. The universe, I realized, was not the benign entity I had once believed it to be. It was a vast, indifferent expanse filled with wonders and horrors beyond human comprehension. I had seen the face of cosmic horror, felt its chilling power, and witnessed humanity's desperate struggle for survival. The scars on the moon, a permanent reminder of the battle, reflected the scars etched onto my own soul. The fear still lingered, a constant companion in the quiet moments, a reminder of the fragility of our existence. But alongside the fear was a newfound understanding, a respect for the power of nature, and a determination to protect our world. The knowledge I possessed, the secrets I guarded, were no longer just scientific data. They were the key to humanity's survival. The responsibility was immense, a weight I carried alone, yet shared with the survivors of the cosmic conflict. We were the keepers of this knowledge, the guardians of a fragile hope. Our task was to use this knowledge wisely, to build a future where such cosmic terrors were met not with panic, but with preparedness and a determined resolve to protect our world. The future was uncertain, fraught with the possibility of further threats from the vast expanse of the cosmos. But we stood ready, united by our shared experience, armed with knowledge and a steely determination to face whatever the universe might throw our way. The weight of knowledge was heavy, but it was a weight I was willing to bear, a burden I would carry for the sake of humanity's future. The universe may be vast and indifferent, but humanity, though scarred, was resilient and determined to survive. The price of truth was steep. The revelation of the cosmic horror, the desperate fight for survival, it had left its mark. The faces of the lost, the colleagues consumed by the entity's power, haunted my dreams. The weight of their sacrifice, of the lives lost, settled heavily on my shoulders. The world had survived, but at a terrible cost. The scars remained, both visible and invisible. My own life was irrevocably changed. The isolation, once a professional hazard, had become a profound loneliness, a consequence of bearing a burden too heavy for most to comprehend. The memories of the events at the observatory, the chilling discoveries, the desperate fight for survival, they were etched into my psyche, forever shaping my perception of the universe and humanity's place within it. The fear, though lessened, never truly left me. The knowledge that such horrors existed, that forces beyond our understanding could threaten our very existence, cast a long shadow over my days. Sleep offered little respite, haunted by visions of the cosmic entity and the catastrophic destruction it had wrought. The world had moved on, rebuilding, but I was forever changed, marked by the cosmic horror I had faced. Yet, amidst the darkness, a flicker of hope remained. The shared experience, the global unity forged in the crucible of near extinction, offered a glimmer of optimism. The knowledge we had gained, the technological advancements we had made, these were testaments to humanity's resilience and its capacity for innovation even in the face of cosmic horror. The price of truth had been high, but it had also been the catalyst for a new era, one where humanity stood united, prepared, and determined to face the challenges that lay ahead in the vast, unforgiving expanse of the cosmos. The fight was far from over, but we would carry on, bearing the scars as a reminder of what we had overcome and what we would continue to fight for. The near-extinction event fundamentally reshaped humanity's approach to space exploration. The naive optimism that had once characterized the search for extraterrestrial life was replaced by a cautious, more realistic perspective. The discovery of a malevolent cosmic entity lurking in the shadows of our own moon served as a stark reminder of the potential dangers hidden within the vastness of space. The thrill of discovery was tempered by a newfound awareness of the potential risk. Space exploration was no longer viewed solely as a quest for scientific advancement and the expansion of human knowledge. It became a matter of planetary defense, a crucial element in ensuring the long-term survival of our species. Resources previously allocated to purely scientific endeavors were redirected towards the development of advanced detection systems, early warning networks, and planetary defense strategy. The search for extraterrestrial life was not abandoned, but it became intertwined with the imperative to protect Earth from potential threats originating from beyond our planet. The SETI program, once a largely theoretical pursuit, was transformed into a high-stakes endeavor, its focus shifting from passive listening to more active surveillance and the development of sophisticated communication protocols designed to identify and respond to potential extraterrestrial contact. The search for life beyond Earth was no longer a purely scientific quest, but a critical component of a broader strategy for planetary defense. The discovery of the cosmic horror had taught us a harsh lesson. The universe was not a friendly place, and the search for extraterrestrial life needed to incorporate a strong element of caution and preparedness. The new era of space exploration was characterized by a blend of scientific curiosity and strategic vigilance. Humanity's gaze turned outward, but not with the naive optimism of the past. Instead, we looked towards the cosmos with a newfound respect for its power, its mysteries, and its potential dangers. The search for extraterrestrial life became a strategic necessity, interwoven with the urgent need to protect Earth from threats beyond our comprehension. The universe remained a source of wonder, but now also a potential battlefield, requiring a more cautious, informed, and prepared approach to exploration. The Tycho Lunar Observatory, once a beacon of scientific exploration, now stood as a monument to humanity's brush with cosmic horror. Its legacy was not just one of astronomical discoveries, but of a harrowing confrontation with the unknown, a stark reminder of the universe's indifference to our existence. The observatory's role in uncovering the truth about the moon's anomaly was undeniable, its silent witness to events that nearly extinguished humanity. The data collected within its walls, the observations made through its massive dome, had revealed a terrifying truth. The universe harbored entities far more powerful and malevolent than we could have ever imagined. The observatory had become a nexus point, a crucible where scientific curiosity collided with the stark reality of cosmic horror. Its halls held the echoes of desperate research, of decoded warnings, and of the agonizing choices made in the face of impending doom. The observatory's legacy was not merely scientific. It was a testament to human resilience. It represented the unwavering pursuit of knowledge, even in the face of overwhelming terror. The scientists who worked within its walls, those who risked their lives to uncover the truth, their courage and sacrifice would never be forgotten. Their actions, though born of scientific curiosity, had ultimately saved humanity. The rebuilt observatory, a testament to our survival, now served a dual purpose. It remained a center for astronomical research, but it was also a hub for planetary defense. The lessons learned from the near-extinction event were etched into its very foundations, shaping its future endeavors. It stood as a reminder that scientific advancement must be coupled with a profound understanding of the potential dangers lurking beyond our planet. The Tycho Lunar Observatory's legacy was a complex one, a blend of scientific achievement and harrowing experience. It stood as a symbol of humanity's vulnerability in the face of cosmic horror, yet also a testament to our unwavering spirit, our resilience, and our enduring capacity to learn and adapt, even in the face of unimaginable challenges. Its story served as a cautionary tale and an inspiration, a reminder that the universe is both a source of wonder and a potential threat, demanding respect, caution, and unwavering preparedness. Even with our survival, many questions remain unanswered. What was the true nature of the entity that had possessed the moon? Was it a sentient being, a cosmic parasite, or something beyond our comprehension? Its motivations remain shrouded in mystery, its origins unknown. Did it originate from within our solar system, or was it a traveler from the distant reaches of the cosmos, a harbinger of a greater, more terrifying cosmic reality? The energy pulse had weakened it, but had we truly defeated it, or merely driven it into a dormant state, awaiting a future opportunity to return? The scars on the moon, the lingering anomalies, these served as constant reminders of its presence, a silent threat hanging over our heads. Was it truly alone, or was it a vanguard, a scout for a larger, more formidable force? The thought sent chills down my spine. We had faced one cosmic horror, but what others might lurk in the darkness beyond our reach? The silent protocol, the conspiracy that had attempted to suppress the truth, also leaves many questions. Who were the individuals or organizations involved, and what were their motives? Were they simply trying to prevent mass panic, or were they actively complicit in the entity's machinations? Their actions had cost countless lives, and their secrets remained largely untouched. The quest for answers continues, but the threat of future encounters looms large, a reminder of the fragility of our existence in the face of cosmic forces beyond our current understanding. The universe remains largely unexplored, its vastness teeming with possibilities, both wondrous and terrifying. Our encounter served as a harsh lesson, a stark reminder of our vulnerability in the face of the unknown. The unanswered questions serve as both a challenge and a warning, urging us to remain vigilant, to continue our research, and to prepare for future encounters, whatever form they may take. The fight for survival is far from over. The cosmos holds secrets, and some secrets are best left undisturbed. But some we must uncover. Looking back at the events, a sense of awe and wonder mixes with the lingering fear. We faced a cosmic horror, a being beyond our comprehension, and yet we survived. Our resilience, our capacity for unity and innovation, proved to be our salvation. But the experience left an indelible mark, a profound understanding of our place in the vast, indifferent cosmos. The universe is a place of endless mysteries, of wonders beyond our wildest dreams, and of terrors that defy imagination. Our encounter served as a stark reminder of this truth. The moon, our constant companion, our celestial neighbor, held a secret that nearly destroyed us. Yet, even in its darkness, there was a strange beauty, a terrifying majesty that humbled us. We have glimpsed the abyss, and we have survived. But the mysteries remain. The unanswered questions, the lingering uncertainties, these are a part of the cosmic tapestry, a reminder of the vastness of space and the limitations of our knowledge. We are but a small, fragile species on a pale blue dot, adrift in a sea of stars, constantly confronting the unknown. Our journey of discovery continues, a journey fraught with peril, yet also filled with the promise of revelation. We must remain vigilant, ever watchful, ever prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. For the universe holds secrets, both wondrous and terrifying, and the exploration of those secrets is a journey that demands courage, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of knowledge. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. Our place in the cosmos is far more precarious than we once believed. And yet, paradoxically, that very precariousness makes our existence all the more precious. The enduring mystery of the cosmos is a constant call to exploration, a challenge to our limits, and a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The scars on the moon, the ravaged Earth, these are not just reminders of a past catastrophe, they are a call to vigilance. Our survival was a narrow escape, a brush with oblivion that should forever shape our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. We must never forget the fragility of our existence, the ever-present threat of the unknown. The universe is vast and unforgiving, teeming with wonders and dangers beyond our current comprehension. Our encounter with cosmic horror was a brutal lesson, a harsh initiation into a reality far more complex and dangerous than we had ever imagined. The knowledge we gained came at a terrible cost, but it is knowledge we must safeguard and build upon. Space exploration is no longer a mere scientific pursuit. It is a strategic imperative, a matter of planetary defense. We must continue to explore, to understand, to prepare. We must invest in technologies that will allow us to detect, defend against, and hopefully one day, understand the forces that threaten our existence. The universe is a dangerous place, but it is also a place of wonder, a place of endless possibilities. We cannot afford to be complacent. Our vigilance must extend beyond the technological realm. We must foster international cooperation, sharing knowledge and resources to face the challenges that lie ahead. The threat is universal, and our response must be as well. We must learn from past mistakes, from the conspiracy and silence that nearly cost us everything. Transparency and open communication are crucial to our survival. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is certain: we must remain vigilant. The cosmos holds both wonder and terror, and it is our duty to face both with courage, intelligence, and unwavering resolve. The exploration of the cosmos is not just a pursuit of knowledge. It is a fight for survival, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. The universe holds countless mysteries, but the greatest mystery remains our future, and it depends on our vigilance, our preparedness, and our unwavering commitment to understanding the cosmos and our place within it.